Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's CITI program webinar. Today's topic is facilitating synchronous RCR training sessions, and it is presented by Ross Hickey and Jim Gould. Now, let me tell you about today's presenters. Ross is the Assistant Provost for Research Integrity and the Director of the Maine Regulatory Ethics and Training Center at the University of Southern Maine. He developed and teaches in the Regulatory Ethics undergraduate program at the University of Southern Maine. He also helped develop and teaches in the Compliance Certificate program at Maine Law. Jim is the Director of the Office for Postdoctoral Fellows and the Program Director for Responsible Conduct of Research at Harvard Medical School. He has been implementing research, career, and professional development programs and policies for trainees since 2011. Jim has spoken and published on career and professional development topics in a variety of forums, locally and nationally, including his book, Making the Most of the Postdoc, due out later this summer.
So today's learning objectives, we're going to examine common and unique RCR experiences across different institutions. We're going to try to explain the need for and importance of facilitated RCR discussions, identify features of effective facilitation techniques, recognize strategies to encourage participation, and describe ways to sustain productive discussions while facilitating RCR.
So why do we think that being a facilitator is important? Well, because the reality is that without that person in the room, without that facilitator present to help guide these discussions, they often will not go the way that we all in the field of research hoped. You really have a critical role because you can guide these discussions through presenting additional scenarios that play off changing some of the key facts and the case studies that you present to your students. You may be able to pose thought-provoking questions that get them thinking about it in a new way that they hadn't thought of before. You can help address some misconceptions they may bring into the room. You may be able to help them to understand better the often complex regulations that can arise, but also some of the rules that are not always written, but just the reality of how research in this country and other locations works. It also helps to have someone that can take some additional time to build on the context of the cases that may come up in the RCR training, and that's what a facilitator has the ability to do. They can give some of the backstory, some of the background, why these things arose. So you're not just dealing with the fact pattern in that case study, but more of the behind the scenes of how that situation developed. On the flip side, you also can be that expert that gives you the big picture outlook of how this scenario fits into the larger.
And finally, I invite everyone to review our content offerings regularly, as we are continually adding new courses and webinars that may be of interest to you all.